It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Gubernatorial candidate Jan Morgan is on the phone. Jan, thanks so much for coming back on.
Yes, sir. Good to be with all of you today. I see you've got a full house just about. Look at those numbers.
I know.
People on live with us. I just posted on my pages. So
yeah, well,
glad to see all those numbers.
Yeah, and every time you do, our numbers certainly go through the roof online. There's no doubt about that. Jan, I want you to take a victory lap because if you weren't in this race and if you weren't criticizing the governor and his task force for attempting to raise our grocery taxes, there's no way he would have essentially torpedoed his own task force and their plans next year to raise our grocery taxes. So thank you very much.
You know what? Here's the scary thing. What about when this race is over, Paul, and he doesn't have to run against me? What if I don't win this primary and he is free to continue another 4 years of big government, tax and spend leadership that is not in the best interest of the people of this state? That is what scares me to death. Because if he has done what he has done this first 4 years, which is increasing government spending over $600 million and all the other things, refusing to take a stand against illegal immigration when our legislators tried to pass bills that would prohibit sanctuary cities and sanctuary campuses. If he has done all of this in his first 4 years, knowing he had to run for re-election, can you imagine how bad it's going to be in the next 4 years with this man totally unbridled with the fact that he doesn't have to run again?
Mm-hmm.
That is what scares me, and people need to be thinking about that, and there needs to be an urgency in getting out and talking to their friends and knocking on their neighbors' doors and telling them about Jan Morgan in this race, because truly, Paul, this is not about a race between Jan and Asa. This is about a race between big government and the people of Arkansas. And on that note, I want to tell you, I appreciate you saying take a victory lap, but really, Paul, Jan Morgan did not do that, okay? All I did was apply pressure by putting out the information which the people of this state took and ran with it and applied pressure to Asa on his pages, his social media pages, at events where he was speaking. I mean, it's the people who accomplished this. All I did was use my format to get the message out and keep pounding him. But this is the same way we, the people, will restore our state government. It won't be Jan as governor that does it. It will be Jan with the power of the people behind her, pushing from every direction on their legislators through transparency and integrity in government. You know, this plan is going to work. The way we stopped it this time, we, Conduit, you guys, put the solid, credible, fact-based information out there. The people take it and run with it. We are, as you have been saying, and that the whole goal of Conduit from the beginning was what? Build a liberty machine. You guys deserve the pat on the back. It's all of us. It's everybody working together, and we are truly together building a liberty machine that is unstoppable, and that is so exciting to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it revolves around what you just said, just getting the credible facts, assembling them and getting them to the people, and then letting the people share with everybody in their sphere of influence. Obviously, social media is a big part of that, but it's not just that. I mean, I talk to local candidates who are going around knocking doors for trying to become county judge or whatever, and they're saying, man, a lot of people out there are going to vote for Jan Morgan, and they're very upset with Asa because they've gotten the information, and I'm seeing signs come up, and I know we got this grassroots movement of happening as well. Jan,
I hope you're right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hope you're right. And Paul, let me just tell you this: this is going to be, if we the people unseat this incumbent governor who brags about being one of the most popular governors in America, and we do it with a campaign team of virtual unknowns in the political arena, just regular folks who've never run political campaign in their lives, with no political experience and with no money. I mean, we have raised, I think, $129,000 since the very beginning of this campaign. If we do this, the people, it will be revolutionary. Seriously, revolutionary. And it won't only be historical for Arkansas, but it will be something that the entire nation and the world will be talking about on May 23rd. And I can't wait to be on Fox News and brag about what the people people of this state did. Unprecedented.
It'll be the biggest transfer of power from the establishment to the people in Arkansas history for sure. I mean, it's going to represent it'll be a huge earthquake. Jan,
and the people did it.
One of the
people did it.
Yeah, and that's right. It will be the people's credit. Jan, one of the other tax exemptions that the task force is considering ending is the exemption on school supplies, that 1 weekend a year where you can go shop for school supplies and clothes and stuff. I mean, what are Republicans thinking? What are they thinking considering getting rid of this?
Honestly, this has been my stance from the very beginning. As you all have said as well, this Tax Reform Commission, which is ASA's Tax Reform Commission, he wants to separate himself from it because he knows that their plan is very nefarious and is not in the interest of the people. He tries to separate himself from it, but that is his commission. He controls it. And I have said from the very beginning, this commission was never about reforming a bad tax code, which is what they're supposed to be about. That it has always been about coming up with more ways to get more money out of the people. If you look at the list of exemptions they are considering repealing, it is long, and it is outrageous. Not only the sales tax for school supplies, I mean, people, buying school supplies and school clothes, getting your kids started at school is very costly. It cuts right to the bone for people who are barely making it paycheck to paycheck each month. So that sales tax exemption is very helpful, and it means the difference between kids getting the school supplies they need and not getting the school supplies they need, number one. Number two, other exemptions like prescriptions. You know very well, Paul, that people can very barely afford their prescriptions in this state. That's as bad as groceries. To even consider that, the fact that ASA has allowed those things to sit there without standing up and telling his commission, look, guys, I don't know what you're doing, but these are not items we're even going to consider. Let's just take those off the table right now under my leadership as governor, because that's what Jan Morgan would do. Under my leadership as governor, we are not going to even consider prescription, the sales tax holiday, farming equipment that farmers use to do their jobs, church programs that feed the homeless. Excuse me? We are not going to go down in history as the party that passed all of these repeals that are going to hurt the good people of Arkansas. That will destroy this party. It will destroy this state. And let me tell you something, Paul. You can mark my words. If Asa Hutchinson wins this election and he continues even worse the path that he's already started, not only will it destroy the good people of this state, it will ruin the Republican Party. A Republican won't be able to get in office because the Democrats will finally be able to say, look at what they did. We can't let Republicans in control of our government. Look at what they do. Increase taxes, increase spending, corruption. All those things the Democrats have said about Republicans all along, that's what that turns out to be. It proves it. It proves it. Because all the tax repeals that he's looking at, the exemptions, are things that don't hurt the wealthy economic elite. Mm-hmm. They hurt the regular people. And that falls right into the narrative that is part of the reason I'm running, because 10% of the state's most wealthy control public policy through bought and paid for career politicians who serve the interests of the economic elite rather than people at large. I am running to serve the people at large.
And I think that's certainly obvious, and I would agree with that. The governor, talk a little bit about, I know we've talked about this before, but with that policy, with the policies and the record that he has, I feel like the Democrat candidate is going to really have an easy time exploiting. So when you talk about the end of the Republican Party, if he does win, or I feel like you're gonna see even some moderate Republicans start to distance themselves from Asa when the campaign gets underway, because
they better.
Yeah, I mean, but yet if you win, it's kind of like, to the state, hey, listen, we corrected this problem of poor leadership, of increased spending and higher taxes, and we're going to be responsible and do right by the people. It's a kind of a fresh start, because you're going to have a brand new platform that you actually believe in, the Republican Party platform. Talk a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a brand new platform. It's actually the Republican Party platform, which Asa has alienated himself from. It's about limited government, about cutting taxes, about shrinking the size of government. But yeah, here's the problem for Asa. If he wins this primary, he's going to have to face the Democrat now. And he's not going to be able to stand on the debate stage with that Democrat and defend his record. If I was a Democrat, I would annihilate him with his record. I mean, it is indefensible. But here's the thing. Asa will probably treat him the way he's treated me. He won't he won't get on the debate stage because he knows his record is indefensible and egregious. And once he puts himself on the debate stage, then the whole state can see him, and it's like the emperor with no clothes. You know, what do? There he'll be. So he'll probably dodge the Democrat just like he's dodging me. I have challenged him since the day I filed. Governor, please, let's debate. For the sake of the people, for the sake of the state, the people have a right to see you and me on the same stage, hashing out the issues, hashing it out. Lincoln Douglas format, no media intervention, asking preset questions that can set up candidates to cheat. Let's just do Lincoln Douglas format. That means you got a moderator with a stopwatch, and Jan and Asa go at it. Let's just do that, Governor. I've formally challenged him time after time on every media outlet I'm on, just like I'm mentioning right now. Hey, Governor, if you're listening, we need to debate for the people, okay? We've got 2 weeks to get this done.
Yeah.
You need to do this. But I, on the other hand, can stand on the debate stage with a Democrat, and I look forward to it. I look forward to looking at him, and when he starts bringing up the record of Republicans, I can say, you know what? No, that is not the record of Republicans. That is the record of an establishment end of our party that we just purified through a primary process. No, the real Republican platform, which is what I'm here to represent today, is about limited government and cutting taxes and making Arkansas better for people. The reason I'm standing here is I agree with you. We didn't like that. We, the people, didn't like that. That's not what our party represents, and he was just a mistake, okay? So I don't have to defend Asa's record on a debate stage with a Democrat. He does,
Yep.
which is, it's going to be interesting to see. He'll probably just refuse to debate him if he's elected.
Yeah.
But I'm still believing, Paul, we're going to win this thing.
Yep.
I feel it. Just within the last couple of weeks, I've actually felt like this is within reach. We really can do this. And I feel that way not because of anything I've done, but because of what the people are out there doing. I mean, they're knocking on doors. They're coming up with the most creative ways to get my name out there because I can't afford to buy TV time. We cannot afford that. We can't afford to buy radio time or newspaper time. So it's up to the people to get out there, grassroots effort, and do it. And they are. I mean, they're standing at intersections with huge signs taped to their bodies.
Yeah.
Bob Bailey attached the Jan Morgan for Governor sign to his drone, and he's flying it all over the place.
I saw that, too. Yeah, that was great.
Yes, and then billboards. Look at the billboards, Paul. They're popping up everywhere. I don't even know who's behind these things. They aren't even telling me. But individual citizens, every time I get on social media, there's another one. There's one yesterday that popped up in Magnolia, Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, look at that.
Yeah,
and all that helps because all people have to do is see that billboard and they see my image on it. And they say, wait a minute, who's that girl? She's running for governor?
Yeah.
And then they get on the Internet. And once they get on the Internet to check me out, we win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Asa's greatest fear is that people will find out about me before they go to the polls.
Yeah, and you're exactly right there. We're talking with Jan Morgan, 4 days. So early voting starts today, Jan. This will be the people's victory, if you win. And the he comes out 4 days earlier, and he says, I don't support the grocery tax. He does this right before early voting. Yeah.
Let me just tell you something about that. If you notice, he says, I don't support the grocery tax. He didn't say, this is not going to happen. I promise you people, we are not going to allow this to get out of this commission, and we're not going to allow it to get on the floor of our House and Senate. I can assure you this is not going. He's not saying that.
Correct.
He's saying, I don't support it. Let me tell you something. He does support it. He absolutely does because he and his wealthy buddies are not affected by a tax increase in groceries or any of the other areas that he's talking about increasing taxes because tax increases only hurt the people who can afford them the least.
Yeah, and, this all came from this Democrat consultant they hired, Randy Bauer, who's basically a Bernie Sanders supporter.
Exactly who he was. They knew who he was, and they knew it from the beginning, and that's because they like him, because that's how Asa is. He is not a conservative, and I would have a lot more respect for the man. Actually, I would have respect, period, for the man, because I don't have it right now. If he would have just stood up from the beginning of this campaign and said, look, this is what I've done. This is what I'm doing now. and just be honest with the people
Yeah.
instead of lying to the people about who he is and what he's trying to do. He ought to be man enough to stand up and say, look, folks, we don't have any money in this state. This is why we have to do it. And, of course, that would be untrue, too, because, as you know, Paul, we do have money in this state. We do not have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. And day one as governor, the first thing I want to do is get in there and cap spending so we don't increase spending anymore at all. Stop that progressive increase that's occurring under his leadership, and then start going into our budget, going into our agencies and auditing our agencies and looking for waste. There is hundreds of millions of dollars in waste in our state government. That's what we need to do day one, and I'm telling the people we are going to do our best to get a handle on that immediately.
Speaking of signs, Jay on Facebook writing that there are Jan Morgan signs popping up all over Maumelle, so that kind of goes. I also have Facebook reports, I was going to get to this tomorrow, of some signs being stolen. There's a before and after photo.
A lot of signs.
So, yeah. What's going on there? What are you hearing? Is it happening in just one part of the state, or is it happening everywhere?
No, it's happening in various areas of the state, and we're getting different reports about who's behind it. I'm not going to say anything because I can't prove. You know me, my credibility is what I have, and
right.
I want to make sure that I only say what I can prove and substantiate. So I'm not going to. It's just interesting that it's only my signs that are disappearing, none of ACE's. And I have given the strict order to our folks. I said, look, people, no matter how mad you get, no matter what they say or do to me in the next 2 weeks, do not touch their signs. Do not stoop to their level.
Correct.
Let's take the high road. Ultimately, the signs that once again, ACE's team knows their biggest fear is that people are going to find out about me before this election.
Yeah.
That people are going to find out about me and then research, and then they lose. So their objective, and his objective all along, his refusal to debate me, is all about let's don't give her any more attention and expose her to the people any more than possible.
Your signs are easier to read, by the way, than ACE's. I think your signs are better.
Yeah, they are. And imagine that. They're just designed by regular folks, you know, never designed political signs and all that.
Yeah.
So,
well, we appreciate it.
You know, the bottom line is they're not going to be able to stop this groundswell of grassroots movement. If the people continue what they've started, the momentum continues to build as it has been. I think there's no stopping the people of the state. It's not about Jan. It's about the people. And they're on a mission.
Jan Morgan, we're going to leave it there. Republican gubernatorial candidate, thank you so much for joining us this Monday morning.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Folks, we're going to take a break. Telling you, very, very exciting stuff. Early voting starts today and runs for 2 weeks until we get to that primary on May 22nd. So go out and vote. Vote your conscience. Vote your convictions. And just be thankful that we have a voice and a say in this democratic republic. Back in just a moment.